All right, Keith and Dai rocking and rolling into the lab. Two dads in a lab trying to be 2% better. I think you guys can hear those tunes. What's going on, Mr. Manuel?
Man, I'm just feeling great. I just got back from the gym. I was coaching for a few hours at CrossFit this morning, and it was just a full on, like each class was full. And when that happens, it's like crazy town. And you can probably hear my voice because I'm a little bit high energy,
No.
Just a little bit.
No.
Anybody that follows my stories on Instagram, you get it. You know what I am. And I'm not apologizing, but my voice is a little coarse, not going to lie. But
Yo.
I'm stoked. How are you doing, though? I heard you had a big announcement today.
I did have a big announcement today, but hold on. I'll throw it back to you. So I get into the lab this morning and energy abounds coming in because Mr. Manuel, his daughters are home. His wife is ready. They're all packed up and they're heading off today on a family weekend, which is awesome because it sets up today's show, which is maximizing family time strategies. And Dai just teed it up. He's like, Bills, I got to get going, man. I'm like, oh, yeah, what's going on? He goes, the car's packed. We're heading to Kelowna. I'm like, oh.
Everything's sitting in the hallway here. I've got to pack it into the car still.
Oh, so you're the dad. Right.
Hey, man, that's how we roll. And I actually think I got a trunk full of crap as well. I got to empty first. So anyways, my wife's out right now. She says, when I get home, then every time. And she doesn't sound like that, by the way.
I'm going to call her when you get a sound clip. I'm going to call. What's your wife's name again?
Christy.
I'm going to call Christy private and make it a sound clip of her voice so that I can press a button and you're not ready and her voice is going to pop in just like that.
Dude, that'd be so good. That'd be great. Make my day, and that would be fun. That would be fun because she's got this thing. Okay, so when we do these trips, these road trips,
yeah,
I gotta say, I got two daughters, I got my wife, and tight quarters, long periods of time, and I've got the smallest bladder of the four of us, so I've got to stop to pee all the time. Either way, like whenever the tension gets a little bit rough, people start to get a little snippy.
Yeah,
my wife will shriek, kindness, like just yelling kindness, but she'll do it with a big smile, which is just this pattern interrupt. It's like you're smiling, shrieking, and yelling the word kindness. So you can't help but stop, listen, and laugh.
Oh
right?
my God! So,
that's the sound bite that you want is her screaming kindness. That's the one.
All right, Christy, you heard it here. Expect a call or a text me looking for the kindness soundbite. Looking for the time. That's awesome. Yep. So you're heading off for the weekend. I got some Easter plans as well. And you are right. Did make a little announcement this morning.
What's the announcement?
I'm talking about it informally, but I'm like, I might as well just go all in, Dai Manuel.
I love it. Let's hear it. What is it? Tell the audience. What is it?
My audacious goal is I'm waking up every single morning with a mission to become the world's greatest talk show host. And to create simultaneously, live in the lab with Keith Billis, the world's greatest talk show. And I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm absolutely going to lay it out there. I want to have Rogan on my show. I want to have Friedman on my show. I want to have Huberman on my show. So all these big names, I want them to come to my show. And then I want to take it further with you, pal. I want to simply just be the conduit to host, to connect conversations with everybody else. I just want to bring people together and have conversations around content. So yes, it may sound audacious to some. It might sound, all right, Billis, roll your eyes, flick your finger in the air. No, you know what? Actually, no. Mr. Beast did it, and I'm prepared to put the work in, and I'm prepared to have an audacious goal to become the guy to go to, the show to go to on LinkedIn and YouTube for conversation.
Dude, I love it.
That's
As
it.
they always say, you know what? You want to shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll end up in the stars, right? So it's, dude, rock and roll. I love it.
Because my plan is if I fail, if I get feedback, I was taught not to use the word fail. If I feedback along the way, then at least I was known for the attempt at trying to do this. And I'm already committed to showing up. We did it 2 dads in the lab watching hockey last night, Mr. Manuel. So this format of streaming live, this format of being in front of people is familiar to me. And I'm thinking, hey, I really enjoy having, and I'll tell you the other secret, pal. Before we get into really what we're here to talk about, which is everybody else, the secret in all this is actually not me. Because what I've discovered, I guess I got to just tell you. But what I've discovered on my show is I'm meeting these exceptional people, like this guy named Mike Keating yesterday, who builds apartments for a living, whose dad was kidnapped, who became a CEO of the company after his dad died at 22. Guys like Wayne Boatwright, guy spent 6.5 years in San Quentin with you and I last week.
Yeah.
A lady like Shannon Houchin, who takes one peach stand to 100 and some on peach stands and sells peaches and makes $8 million a year selling peaches.
A lot of peaches.
You, who I met on this show back when I started this thing, and then I realized, Dai Manuel, there's all these normal human beings who are quite exceptional. And when you start having conversations and bringing them together and telling these great stories, man, you can have a lot of fun with awesome human beings. So I'm like, hey, let's celebrate humanity, have great conversations. Because you know what, Dai? Joe Rogan, Dai Manuel, Andrew Huberman, Keith Billis, name them all. They'll put their pants on the same way I do and you do.
Hell yeah, dude.
So there you go.
Yeah, if you prick me, do I not bleed? Come on. We're all the same, right? We're all from the same mold. And I think it's a great reminder, and especially what you're doing, because I also was talking to somebody the other day, and I was just thinking about all these social networks.
Yes.
And listen, we can't help it. The media has a lot of negativity in it.
Yes.
And if you consume that negativity, you engage with that negativity, wow, watch out, because those algorithms say, hey, I guess you like this. Let me give you more.
Yes.
And what you're doing, though, is we're reprogramming, rejigging the algorithm to feed people more positive content, more uplifting content, inspiring content.
Yes.
And you know what? The more you get into this type of content, watch out. Your feeds will change, but those inputs will affect the outputs of your life.
Yes. You're on, man. You're absolutely on. You're on. And I even put money behind it this morning. There's no reason that we should not be contributing our positive message and meeting with awesome people from companies like Lululemon and Peloton. So if anybody listening can connect me with somebody influential that will listen to me and have a meeting and sit down with me and decide to get involved in the show, I'll give them $1,000.
Woo!
Connect me with somebody, not just give me a phone number. Say, hey, Keith, go sit down with Joe Smith. Joe wants to meet with you, and here's why. And I'll give you $1,000. I'll record you. I'm paying for a connection. Anyway, enough of that. Dai Manuel, we're here to talk about our kids, talk about family. We're here to talk about maximizing strategies for a fulfilling long weekend or just regular weekends.
They are. But let's be fair. I was of the mindset for 17 years when I was working in my last company. It was just nonstop, right? Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're open 24/7. You know, and we used to joke about it. It's like, yeah, I only work halftime. What do you mean halftime? I either work the first 12 or the last 12 hours of the day. And so every weekend was just a weekend.
Yeah.
But it was an opportunity to connect with family, do something special, really create an event around it. And it doesn't have to be something that costs a lot of money. What I realized with my own kids, especially when they were younger, was take them to any playground, run around and play with them. Do that for an hour, and they are happy as stink. Like, that was just great because it was quality time, right? And so we have some ideas. We'll talk about the long weekend, and most people got 3 days coming this weekend. Some people have 4 if they work in government. And for the rest of us entrepreneurs, it's just another weekend, but it's another opportunity to connect with family and the people that matter most in our lives. And what are you doing this weekend, though, Keith?
Yeah, so today's going to be a relatively quiet day. My wife and I are probably just for the most part ourselves. Brooks is heading back to her father's today, and Piper and Carter are with their mom today. Sunday, we're going to get together for Easter dinner weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. Tomorrow, everybody shuffling all over the place, but Sunday will be Easter dinner weekend, which I'm really excited about spending time with everybody. Weekends start a little bit extra early for me yesterday because my son, 17-year-old son, bought his first car.
No way.
Yeah. So that kind of links maybe into the activities here. It was our mission over spring break to get him his first car, right? So he turned 16 last year. He got a little bit of money from me, got a little bit of money from his mom, and he went out and bought himself a Mitsubishi. Yeah.
I love it.
He made the offer himself. He found it nice. And my goal with that whole experience was to empower him to do it.
Yeah. What a life lesson.
That's was. Great. So with that aside, that was, I think, a pretty big thing. And then this weekend, we'll spend time with the kids on Sunday.
Oh, man. Do you guys do Easter egg hunts?
It's funny. I had this conversation with Nicole Bernard on the week a couple of days ago. We do. I know the kids are getting older, so I suspect we still will to some extent. But I got to tell you something. We laugh about Brooks. I'm not sure if there's parents listening right now that can relate to this or not relate to what I'm going to say next. But Brooks loves avocados.
Oh, good.
And if you put out a bunch of chocolates on an Easter egg hunt or a bunch of avocados on an Easter egg hunt, she would probably fill up her basket with avocados. It's the funniest thing. We still have Easter chocolate and Valentine's chocolate sitting from a year earlier because she's like, oh, yeah, like she acts like a kid, but eats like an adult. It's funny as hell. Dude, you say Easter egg hunt. She's like, no, I want to go on an avocado hunt. I'm like, all right, that's expensive, but okay.
Hey, I think that's great. And
Yes.
also you can repurpose all that chocolate and candy from last year.
There you go.
It's
Yeah,
good. Keep
exactly.
recycling that stuff.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So I know we're here, we're going to talk about family strategies and some of the typical ones, Dai, are to do analog activities, take our kids and do analog things. And I want to go down a path with you on this one. So, Wayne Boatwright, I think it was Wayne who said last week, you find a place to go and connect with your kids, go to their space.
Right. Yeah.
We live in a world now where digital technology is normal for many. I enjoy those spaces. So I'm going to put myself out there. I sometimes get uncomfortable when people are all like, no, you got to go play a game. You got to go be analog. You got to go outside and play in the park. And I'm like, no, actually, can't I just sit on my phone with my kids and watch some YouTube or hang out with them on like I like to do? And I'm just going to put it out there because I've never really said it out there before, but that's what I like to do. And I know my kids like to do that. And why is that wrong?
It's not wrong. Not wrong at all.
Precisely.
It's again, it's quality time and it's time
Yes.
with. But I do believe that it, like,
You know
when
what I mean, though?
we look at the health around the world today, but I
Yes.
also know that you are active with your family as well. So
Right.
it's again, and I'm not going to use the word balance, but I will talk about finding more opportunities to harmonize the
Yes.
importance of physical health, but also the emotional, spiritual, and mental health aspects. And we can do this so many different ways. But
Yes.
if the constant way, that's 90% of the time, is spent sitting, watching, consuming other content, we have to ask ourselves, is that doing our kids a service long term?
And it's interesting you say that because I've often spoken with other adults like myself and yourself, and we always refer to consuming content. Where I've sometimes flipped in there with my kids and I've said, especially when they're younger, use the iPad all you want, but I want you to create content instead of consuming it or doing do math problems or do school stuff on there or create stuff and get into the habit of using these tools as creator tools, not just consumption tools, because that's when we're no different than teaching our kids how to build a house with analog wood or we're teaching them how to do something, right?
It is. And if they're learning and growing by that, and I look at kids today, especially kids that do consume a lot of content, I guess it depends on the type of content, but it's amazing to see some of the general knowledge of just current affairs, what's going on, the trending stuff in pop culture. So it is relevant, I think, to a certain extent. But again, it's like they follow whatever we do. So we have to ask ourselves, are we setting the example? Are we role modeling the habits that we want them to continue to thrive with as they age and mature in life?
Yes.
And so again, I think it's just a matter of having healthy boundaries around this because we still love playing board games. And
so do we.
It's changed a bit. Oh, sorry. What did you say? You guys do too?
100%. Yeah, I do
It's
too.
great. It's so much fun. You know, and it gets the family engaged. They can really, I'm very competitive. I don't let my kids win ever. Even when they were 5 years old, I was like, no, you're down. I crushed you. Bam.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
no.
And when they beat me, it's that much more exciting for them. Right?
Yes.
It just doesn't happen that often.
No. I'm sucking at crib as my kids get older, man. Oh my goodness.
Crib, that's right. We play crib, we play backgammon.
Yeah.
But then when we get into the family, we also have a lot of board games and some of our favorites. And so I always think those are fun activities, especially on a long weekend. Have some hot chocolate or whatever. And it's a nice way to wind down the evening. But again, it's a form of reconnecting.
Yeah.
And also, I love the conversations that just happen organically when we're just sitting around playing board game, as we say, shits and giggles, right? And it's great. I love that stuff. And I think it's something that's very accessible and easy for anybody. Just go on Marketplace. You can find used board games for $1. Like, it's not a matter of having to go out and spend all the money and go buy new board games. Like, just go on Marketplace, go to a thrift store. You'll find them. They're out there.
It's great actionable advice as we work towards wrapping the conversation here very shortly. But board games, analog activities, card games, inexpensive, brings people together.
And I was going to say, for those that have a bit older kids, we started doing this when our kids were tweens, 10 and older. We started, as we were traveling around the world, especially around North America, we would seek out escape rooms.
And
they are just next level fun.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, if you and your family can survive an escape room together, and what I mean is just make it out without killing each other, you know what? You've got a good family. All right. There's been a couple meltdowns and it was pretty close. It was very tense moments, but it is so much fun. But it's also, it involves a lot of thought and creativity and teamwork. I'm a huge fan of escape rooms. And fortunately, my kids, because they've grown up with that, they love them too.
Yes.
And, you know, they're 19 and 21 now, right?
That's a great actionable item example. Escape rooms, again, not relatively inexpensive for the quality experience.
It is.
You get an hour with, you get an hour with your family, an hour and a half. Go grab some ice cream or a bite to eat after, and it's a one wonderful experience. Which then leads me to ask you this, and this will be the last question before we say goodbye. And I'll ask the audience's question. But is your family a planning family or a spontaneous family?
We're a bit of both.
Ah,
We're a bit of both. Like with escape rooms, and especially, and I think this is really the sort of the hangover effect from COVID is that we got to book everything nowadays in advance, right? Like if you want to go to an escape room, we better book it ahead of time because everybody else is booking. All these people have
yes.
upgraded to these booking systems, right? And so it's removed that idea of, oh, just pop in and we'll just see what they got open. Like that just doesn't happen anymore. And so when it comes to certain other aspects, like we just know we're going to have a family night, but we don't define what we're going to do that day.
Okay. Yes.
And so we leave a little bit of room for creativity, curiosity. We also invite feedback from the kids. And so that can be fun too. I think it's a matter of prioritizing for both sides of that equation, right? But like even my wife and I, like we have a revolving date night every Saturday night from
Smart.
5 to about 11 p.m. It's our date night every week forever. That's what we've been doing. But we don't actually plan what we're going to do, but we take turns. Next Saturday's my Saturday night. So I'm going to just do something and for us, and then she'll do it the opposite weekend. So it is still planned, but it creates the space for spontaneity as well. And
Yeah.
so that's how we like to roll.
That's awesome. One of the ambitions I have with the show, Dai, and I want to extend this a couple more minutes, is to have conversations around content. And your suggestion this morning to have this conversation around bringing families together and family activities, it struck me. I came across a post by a creator on LinkedIn called Amanda Getz. And I don't know if you know who Amanda is or not, but I'm going to quickly share this because this is brilliant, man. You are going to appreciate this. She went offline with her kids for 4 days.
Oh, nice.
And she made observations as to what happened. And she talks about, get this, just spent the last 4 days offline with my kids at a resort for spring break. I left my phone in the room the entire time. Here's what happened. I was more patient with them. I noticed way more about their personalities. We played a ton of chess, and bags. We watched TV together instead of it being a distraction while I do other things. The kids woke up and played without TV or video games. Family dinners were full of laughs. They slowed down because I slowed down. We had a family meeting before we left and came up with observations and new rules we want to instill when we get home. And then she put the rules together.
Nice.
Right? Without video games, you played more with your toys. Only 1 hour video games a weekend, none on weekdays. When we don't snack before dinner, we eat a good dinner. No technology, family dinners before together more nights, no snacks after 3. TV was fun more when we watch a show together, and nighttime family TV show. So
love it.
Yeah. And when you suggested we have this conversation, it struck me that there's somebody else in their family making some of this a priority as well. And I just thought it'd be a great conversation to share.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I think that's great. And what a beautiful observation and invitation for the rest of us to try it. Why not? What's the worst can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? You're going to beat your kids at Sorry, Monopoly, or cards.
Or dominate them in chess.
That's it. Dai Manuel, you have a road trip ahead of you. You got a car to pack. You got a family waiting for you. I'm not sure if Christy's back yet, but you got a family.
Not yet, but don't worry. The tinge of ginge will be here soon.
Then you have some extra time to get the car packed. Dude, it's great seeing you. BAPL Business Athlete Nation. Keith and Dai are out there. Listen, encourage you all. Spend some time with your family this weekend. Let us know what you're doing. It doesn't have to be expensive. That's what's really most important.
And you know what? I want to be the greatest sidekick to the greatest broadcaster of live content and live streaming content. So there you go. Okay.
There you go.
So I can be your Robin to your Batman.
Awesome.
Okay? So,
yes. I like that. Yeah. So we're building a crew, man. Yourself, Nicole. I want to have an awesome team. And then my ambition is to fade slothfully into the corner and elevate everyone around and have this global conversation, just moving things forward. Just want to have a conversation. That's all. Maybe I'm naive, but that's what I want to do.
I don't think it's naive at all. I think it is a beautiful thing, but it's also a mission that all of us can participate in because
That's it.
conversations take two. So
Oh,
it's good, man. It's good.
what a great way to say goodbye. All right, pal. You hang tight. I'm going to say, look, no, I'm not hanging. We're saying goodbye together. Bye, everybody.
See y'all. Great Easter weekend.